Former NBA All-Star Dwayne Wade deleted a tweet saying, "We are with you and keep leading," in response to entertainer Nick Cannon being fired for making anti-Semitic remarks on a podcast. After deleting the initial tweet, Wade explained himself in subsequent tweets saying this, quote, "I want to clarify my now deleted tweet. I was not supporting or condoning what Nick Cannon specifically said, but I had expressed my support of him owning the content and the brand he helped create. I was too quick to respond without being fully informed about his hurtful anti-Semitic remarks. As you all know, I have zero tolerance for any hate speech." Max, your reaction to the situation involving Dwayne Wade?
I think Dwayne Wade explained himself very well there, and I don't think there's anything further to really discuss. He said he wasn't fully informed about what happened. He doesn't tolerate hate speech, and he didn't mean to support any anti-Semitic statement, and that's that from Dwayne Wade's point of view. From Nick Cannon's point of view, I want to be clear about something, because a lot of times this stuff comes up, and Stephen A., I think, made the best point about this last week when, Stephen A., you said, I was talking about people being susceptible to low-quality information, and you said, hey, people need to think before they talk. Everyone's talking too much, and we were kind of debating that back and forth. But ultimately, the point that you seem to be making to me was, if you're going to say something unpopular, understand the consequences. People will, the cancel culture will come for you, but after that, to get in everyone's good graces again, you're going to have to convince people of your sincerity about the apology. And if you're not sincere about that, in other words, you really believed what you said, you're going to have to go around on an apology tour trying to be as sincere as possible about something about which you're not actually genuine. So let me get to the specifics of this for a second. Nick Cannon said that, echoing kind of what Deshaun Jackson said, this idea that he said the Jews essentially control the media, or he was playing upon that theme. And that's an old anti-Semitic trope. And he said during the explanation for why he was talking about it that the Ashkenazi Jews, meaning white Jews, the people, when people think about who's Jewish in this country, that's who he's referring to, are not the real Jews. So anything he says about them can't be anti-Semitic, because the Semitic people are African Americans, in fact. First of all, that is conflating religious mythology with anthropology and then going back to a religious text to try to piece it all together. That actually indicates that, in fact, Nick Cannon is susceptible to low-quality information. In other words, parts of that are true, but not his conclusion. But more importantly, what he's saying is this group that's being demonized in this way, that's not anti-Semitism. Does that mean it's okay to say about that group, Nick? Because you're just redefining what anti-Semitic means and then saying, since that doesn't apply to that hate speech against that group, therefore, or demonizing speech toward that group, then that's okay because it doesn't fit into your new definition of what anti-Semitism means? No. And that's something that I'd like to hear Nick Cannon speak about. I like Nick Cannon, Stephen A. Find him entertaining. He clearly has like a good personality, and I don't think he's stupid. So I would like to hear what he has to say about that. Now, Nick Cannon has since come out and said, hey, and explained himself further too. And I get it. In other words, he's saying, look, my heart's in the right place. I want to move forward and educate myself and have a cultural exchange. And all that's good. But what I specifically want to hear about is it okay, however you want to define that out group, the group of other that's being demonized in your speech, do you think it's okay so long as it's not, as you don't define it, as anti-Semitic? Because that's not okay. And that's the crux of the issue for me.
Well, that's the crux of the issue for me, and I certainly respect where you're coming from in that particular situation, Max, and I don't disagree with you. I have not seen the Nick Cannon tape. I have not seen it. Let me make sure I make that very, very clear. I believe that if it's anything anti-Semitic, he should have apologized appropriately, and he should not be defiant with his apologies. He should simply apologize and move forward. having said all of that, because listen, Nick Cannon has been critical of me when it came to Colin Kaepernick. I don't give a damn. It doesn't in any way affect my profound respect for him in terms of what he has accomplished throughout his career, what an incredible talent he is, and the fact that this dude needs to be on the airwaves because he brings a lot of entertainment value to all of us. And for the most part, I understand him to be a highly, highly intelligent brother, and I have nothing but positive things to say about him. Having said all of that, again, if he said something anti-Semitic, he should certainly apologize. But let me piggyback back to Dwayne Wade. For those of you out there that have watched Dwayne Wade, and you'll soon be seeing him enter the Hall of Fame because he's one of the great guards to have ever played the game of basketball. I have religiously said on these airwaves, I don't give a damn what he was as a basketball player. It is nothing compared to what he is as a human being. Dwayne Wade is one of the most special brothers you will ever find in your life. He doesn't have a hateful bone in his body. I've known him for years, and I'm telling you what I know about this guy. He has a daughter that is a part of the LGBTQ community. We all know about that story. Plus, he's a black man. So if there's anybody that has experienced hate and is biased and has elevated their level of sensitivity to such issues, it would be somebody like him. There is nothing to excoriate or to crucify Dwayne Wade about. He highlighted and illuminated the fact that there was a level of understanding that he might not have had about what Nick Cannon specifically alluded to. But his support of Nick Cannon, I think it's important to understand, because he's not the only person that has come out, whether publicly or privately, to support Nick Cannon. A lot of folks in the African-American community are coming to Nick Cannon's support. It's not for his words that may have been anti-Semitic. Again, I don't know what he said. But what they made sure to point out in terms of their support for him is that they have a real big-time problem with this reality, Max Kellerman. In the aftermath of the George Floyd killing, what did folks outside of the black community religiously talk about? We're listening. We hear you. We want to have a conversation. So if you truly, truly are sincere in that, why is it that the second somebody steps out of pocket, we adopt the, as you would say, Max, the cancel culture, as opposed to adopting the counseling culture? Now, I'm not saying that the Jewish community hasn't done that, because they invited Deshaun Jackson to Auschwitz, and obviously Stephen Jackson as well. And of course, they'll probably reach out and do something like that with Nick Cannon. But I do think it's important to highlight that reality. You do have a lot of people that are inclined to cancel these people. Fire Nick Cannon. Fire, get rid of all of these guys. Never to see them again, because they said something that you surmise is anti-Semitic, or you surmise that they did. Again, I don't know, because I didn't hear it. And if he said that, he should apologize. But my point is, and I'm not talking about the Jewish community here, Max, I'm talking about overall from a societal perspective. We have too many people that want folks canceled. And usually, a lot of times, it's us. And I'm going to tell you something else, too. The white community, let's just call this what it is. The white community has been resentful for decades about what is considered to be a heightened level of sensitivity towards black folks, whether it's affirmative action, it's the use of the N-word, et cetera, et cetera. We've had all of these discussions right here on this show. And the fact is, when folks slip up, you know, they get punished for it. And there's a lot of white folks in America that has resented that. So what you have is a situation when black folks make mistakes, you have folks that are gung-ho about jumping up and saying, get rid of them too, because let's even a playing scale. Let's even the playing field. Not remembering, Max, something you've religiously pointed out. It's never been equal for us as black people. We've always been operating behind the curve. White America has always been 100 yards ahead of us. So the fact that people have this mentality that all of a sudden we got to sit up here and we have to say, excuse me, it needs to be equal. It needs to be fair. Well, black folks are saying it's never been fair for us. So if it appears to be fair at this particular moment in time, why do you have a problem with it when for 400 years you had a head start? And I don't have a problem with that. So again, that's a separate issue from Nick Cannon and what he said. But I do think that it's important that a lot of people who support him, they ain't supporting what he said. They're supporting the fact, wait a minute, this brother loses his job? That's a different subject.
Agree. He shouldn't have. I agree. I don't think he should have. Let me say two things. One, I'm quite sure most black people, most African Americans, would make the deal, the trade with European Americans. I'll tell you what, there's a word or two that we're not allowed to use now, but you could take hundreds of years of slavery and second-class citizenship. You want to make that trade? I mean, everyone. The white people who really have a problem with what they perceive as now a double standard, that's absurd. It's absurd on its face. Secondly, cancel culture. The politically correct movement, which has been the words politically correct actually used to mean something different. They've been co-opted, and it means what it means now. But the politically correct culture did a lot of good things and does a lot of good things. It applies pressure on the in-group to include the out-groups, to include marginalized people, and so everyone can move into the middle, you know, the American power structure and not be marginalized and disadvantaged. That's good. It exerts social pressure that way. However, like anything, it can be kind of co-opted and used for bad purposes, or rather, in everything in moderation. It can be overdone. And when politically correct culture runs amok, to the point where if someone misspeaks publicly, even if they say something publicly maybe they shouldn't have, or they say something before they were fully informed, or maybe they revealed some private thought of theirs that they hadn't thought through well enough, but upon follow-up, they address it. You can see that they are actors of good intention, meaning that they're people who want to participate with good intention. Right. The idea that they must be canceled is unhealthy. It has a chilling effect on the exchange of ideas, and it also assumes that that we all live at a certain standard of perfection that we don't. So, and it is unrealistic. So I wholeheartedly co-sign the idea of a pushback against cancel culture in an instance like this.
Listen, here's the bottom line, Max Kellerman. I'll tell you this right now. White folks have clearly had a distinctive advantage throughout American history, obviously because of slavery and how black folks have been marginalized and minimized, pigeonholed, et cetera, and we understand that. But it might be or it may not be shocking to you, despite those advantages by white folks. The fact of the matter is most, if not all black people, every black person that I've ever known, and you're looking at one right now, we've never preferred to be anything but black. We're proud black people. We don't mind it. We don't like.
I'm not saying you prefer to be something else, Stephen A.
I know that. I know that. I know that. I'm just saying. I was just addressing your point. I know that you didn't. I know that you didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying. Despite the iniquities that have been exacted against us, we're proud black people, and we'll stand up and be who we are. But in the end, what it comes down to is this: we're living in a different day and time right now. Most black folks, we're not taught. It's not about being anti anything. It's about being pro-black and uplifting ourselves, because from a systemic perspective throughout our nation's history, there has been a concerted effort to make us feel as if we are less than what we are. So again, that's not promoting anti-Semitism. It should never happen. It's not promoting anti-anything, because that should never happen. It's about love. It's not about hate. But it's also about being mindful and cognizant of the need to uplift yourself and a nation of your people that have been marginalized and minimized and damn near exterminated, for crying out loud, if you really, really think about it, in terms of the efforts that people have made against black people in this nation. Jewish folks have definitely suffered. The Holocaust was real. 6 million plus people died. We should never, ever, ever forget the iniquities that were exacted against the Jewish community. But again, the same should apply to black folks and what the kind of damage that we have had done to us as well. And that's basically what we're talking about here. And that's basically people who come to the support of Nick Cannon. Again, they ain't support anything anti that may have spewed out of his mouth. What they're saying is this is a young, talented, brilliant, accomplished young brother that may have made a mistake. Rather than cancel, how about counsel? That's what this is about. And that's what we need to recognize moving forward.
Dwayne Wade immediately clarified what he meant. No problems with Dwayne Wade. And Nick Cannon should not be canceled over this. Counseled. I like that, Stephen A. Counsel culture rather than cancel culture.
And I'm not just talking about America's Got Talent. I'm also talking about Viacom. It would be nice now that he's made his apology.
Agreed.
It would be nice, and it would be a great effort in their way, to show him some compassion. The man apologized, counsel him, and move forward. Give him his job back.
And we have to continue to keep calling out what is wrong and educating one another. And as far as D. Wade, I just want to echo what you said earlier. And I said this to him in Chicago when he joined us at the All-Star game. But what him and his wife have done as pioneers, opening up about his child Zaya's gender identity journey, is beautiful. They've been leaders in that space. They didn't have to share that journey. And also, Gabby and him didn't have to share the health issues that many ethnic women are facing, including myself. And I appreciate that them bringing that all to the light. So they've done tremendous work off the court and off the screen as well. Yeah, go ahead, Stephen A.
Before she was Gabrielle Wade, she was Gabrielle Union. I've known her for many, many years. She's a wonderful friend, one of the greatest women I've ever met and I've ever known. And she has fought and taken on so many causes on behalf of women across this nation. How special she is as a person knows no limits. That's a special woman right there. She really is.
No question.